I think one huge potential of AI is to enable non-technical users like myself to become builders. So even though I don't know how to code, I'm now actually able to use ChatGPT or other AI tools to build apps.
And in fact, today we're going to talk to one person who not only builds AI products for other people to create their own apps, we're going to take a look under the hood and see how he creates his own apps and workflows himself, both in his professional life and his personal life.
Reid is the lead product manager at Zapier, which has shipped a ton of AI features. So we're going to take a look at how someone who's building AI tools is using these AI tools himself.
Let's do it.
I am the lead product manager for AI things at Zapier. In the last year, I think we've added just over 200 AI apps to Zapier, which is a little bit wild.
Well, as the lead AI PM at Zapier, I think you're in a really interesting position to tell us also how you personally use AI. We'd love to take a look under the hood behind how someone who works on AI products actually uses AI in your everyday personal day and life.
Yeah, happy to. For anybody not familiar with Zapier, Zapier is a workflow automation platform, which essentially means you can easily use the visual editor that you're seeing here to move data from point A to point B to point C, so on and so forth. And what becomes really powerful is what I describe like running ChatGPT in your sleep is probably the easiest way to think about it. I'll start with like probably one of the first things I ever built. For me, I use a to-do app called TickTick. For anybody that uses like Todoist or any of the other like hundreds of seemingly to-do list tools, it works very similar. And essentially the workflow that I had is I wanted to like just remember to do things. And traditionally my workflow actually just didn't have this ChatGPT step. And what would happen is I'm in Slack and I add the like to do emoji to a message, and that would add it to my TickTick. But traditionally what happened was the like to-do list item was the message text, which you can see here. This is like an example. And that's not a great to-do text label, right? Like item, to-do list
There's
title.
not a lot of
Uh,
context. Yeah.
yeah, there's not a lot of context. It's also just hard to read. Like when that comes through in an app, really all you're seeing is noticing that users are, and then it's like dot, dot, dot. And so it becomes, you're like, what on earth was that to-do list item? And so really what I've done here is it's like an incredibly simple prompt, right? You'll see that I just ask it to reduce this and give me a short title. I give the message text that came from Slack, and then it's using just like the basic GPT 3.5 Turbo, probably like the cheapest model this could possibly run. And then it outputs a nice little message. Like, so then it switches this to action setup screen improvement investigation, which is great. It's exactly great title for that. And so then in TickTick, I now all of a sudden have a much cleaner title that I'm now getting from ChatGPT, but I still in like the description of that to-do list item link out to the text of it, as well as like the actual link to the Slack message.
Could you show us how that actually looks like, for
Yeah.
example?
When I'm in Slack, someone asks me to do something, I can just add the TickTick emoji. So you can see here in TickTick, I got the thing, and there you go. Message text, link to the Slack message, link to the Zap. You can actually see exactly what it's doing there.
The prompt is I'm adding a reminder to my to-do list for this message. Write a short title for my reminder. That's
Yep.
pretty straightforward. Yeah.
So it's as if you put this into ChatGPT. And that's kind of what I mean by like, it gets people started with this notion of running it in your sleep, because I think for a lot of people that's actually not clear on that's even possible. And particularly that's possible for like the average knowledge worker, like product marketers. You're like the great use case, right? When you show a product marketer that, hey, did you know you could take all of the customer feedback that you're receiving and process it for like various operations, for classification, for summarization, for identification for product areas, and actually like start processing that volume of data with inference and as a component is really cool, because all of a sudden you can start to do so much more things than you ever thought you were possibly able to do.
Yeah, and I mean, what I think this does really well is it lowers the barriers to integrating more of AI in your everyday life.
I think it brings AI to your work instead of bringing your work to AI, because usually you copy and paste a lot of text into ChatGPT window and then have it do something and then copy and paste back. But now that it's integrated into a workflow, it removes that need for the back and forth. So the AI works wherever you need it to inside your original workflow.
That is phenomenal. Yeah, that was cool. One of the things that always amazes me still is like you can do really, you're essentially creating software when you're using like a no code tool like Zapier. But again, I'm not an engineer. I don't actually know how to code anything. And the fact that you can do some like pretty advanced stuff that you would not normally do or normally have to like pay a whole other service to do for you, is pretty wild. And I kind of love that. One of the things I get really excited about with AI overall is the fact that it's just like enabling so many people to have this like capability to do so much that they otherwise like could not do. And that's really powerful. And I look forward to that just being like easier and easier and easier for that.
It makes people more creators rather than just consumers of the tools that we're using every day.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.